Hi, everyone. I'd like to do a shout out to our sponsor, Baco Diagnostics. Early detection is the single most important factor in improving patient outcomes. The Baco Diagnostics team recognizes how impactful a podiatric physician can be and remains committed to supporting you in your role as the first line of defense in diagnosing conditions of the lower extremity. Thanks to the unwavering support of their clients, Baco Diagnostics has been able to give back to the podiatric community for 16 years by providing podiatric educational resources and advocating for the position. Baco Diagnostics, helping podiatric physicians keep America on its feet. If you have not yet had the opportunity to utilize Baco Diagnostics services, get started today by sending an email to corporaterelations@bacodiagnostics.com. The first 50 podiatry offices who request a starter kit will receive a Dean's Chat mug. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Dean's Chat, where we discuss all things podiatric medicine. My name is Dr. Jeffrey Jensen. I'm the Dean at the Arizona College of Podiatric Medicine and co-host for the Dean's Chat podcast. Once again, I am joined by my co-host, Dr. Joanna Richey. Hi, Joe.
Hey, Jeff. How you doing?
I'm doing great, and I'm super excited. We're interviewing our students, APMSA students from the Arizona College of Podiatric Medicine today.
I am so excited too. We have some of the best students. I'll take ownership of the bias completely, but we're really excited to have them today.
Fantastic. Well, let me give you each a little bit of an introduction before we get into the discussion. Representing the class of 2027, Megan Beard. Hello, Megan.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us today.
Yep. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And representing the class of 2028, Dalaiah Shelton. Welcome, Dalaiah.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for making time. I know your schedules are all busy. And also from the class of 2028, Taylor Bollinger. Welcome to Dean's Chat, Taylor.
Hi. Thanks. This is so fun.
It is fun. You're going to be surprised at how fast 40 minutes goes by.
I'm super excited to kick this off, Jeff. Last year we got the opportunity to have the APMSA student representation come on, and they each talked a little bit about their school and some of the things that the being part of APMSA was all about. And we wanted to kind of shift gears a little bit this year and talk a little bit more about podiatry specific. So what we'll start with is, and Taylor, I'm going to start with you because you're the first one in my screen in terms of the order. But what we want to know is, where did you go to undergrad and what was your degree? And then how did you find out about podiatry?
Yeah, so I went to undergrad at UVU. That's a school down in Utah. Undergrad was in biology, and I always knew I wanted to do something within the medical field. And so just as a freshman, I just started shadowing a bunch of places. I got a job at a hospital as a patient transporter. So I really got to see everything in the field, like all the different kinds of doctors and like the nurses and the techs, like everything. And then I just so happened to stumble upon podiatry. And so it was fun. And then I found one in the hospital, and then I found a private practice, and I just started shadowing them, and it was fun. Yeah, I liked it.
And the rest was history.
Yeah, we're here.
There you go. Dalaiah, how about you? How did you find out about podiatry and your undergrad experience?
Yeah, so for my undergrad, I went to Houston Baptist University, and I actually have a music degree. I didn't take like the conventional route. So I'm a flautist, have a BA in music, but I also double minored in Spanish and biology. I've known I wanted to be a doctor since I was 2, so that was just kind of like a stepping stone. But I feel like I kind of changed my mind a lot about what kind of doctor I wanted to be. After college, I took a few gap years and I worked as a scribe virtually. And so one of my coworkers actually was applying to podiatry school, got in, and she introduced it to me. And when I did my research, I was like, this is exactly for me. And yeah, so I went for it, and now I'm here.
Love that you were a flautist.
Yeah.
Say it correctly. Do you still play?
Not as much as I want to, just because my time is devoted to studying, but I have my flute, and I mean, I could pull it out and play right now, but
I love that so much. My mom was a flautist. I always called her a flutist, but I have her flute, and it's neat because now she's passed, and so it's a very special. So I think that's fabulous.
Yeah.
All right, Megan, how about you? Where did you go to undergrad, and what was your degree? And then tell us about how you found podiatry.
Okay, awesome. So I graduated from Westmont College in Santa Barbara, California, and I got a biology degree with a focus in the cellular and molecular track. Then after college, I had just a little bit longer journey than maybe the average student. I got some experience in the hospital, did patient transportation, phlebotomy, medical assistant, all sorts of things to try to navigate and figure out what specific field I was interested in. And after a while, as I was trying to figure out what type of professional school, whether that was like DO or MD to apply to, I wanted to strengthen my knowledge in the sciences. So I came to Midwestern for their master's in biomedical science program, where I got to work on a master's thesis for a few years. And I ran my own experiments and everything. And it was basically a really great prep program for medical school. And it wasn't until I was actually at Midwestern that I specifically heard about podiatry. I was involved in different clubs, and there was a suture event, and I was like, oh, I'm definitely wanting to be a surgeon. And so I'm going to go to this event, and the podiatry students were running it. And I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, I love this. This is what I see myself doing. And then when I started to learn and understand a little bit more about podiatry, I was like, how did I not know about this my whole entire life? This is like the hidden nugget within the medical field. So as I applied for the podiatry program, I got in contact and was able to shadow with Dr. Case and then Dr. Curtis over at the Midwestern Clinic, and got to see even two different different clinic environments and everything. And I just fell in love with it instantly, because it had basically all my passions in life with the medical field combined as one. And as soon as I shadowed, I just continued with my application and just solidified everything at that point. So.
Oh, I love that. And it's great. Now you've been on the other end of those suture workshops, teaching suturing skills to, well, I've seen you at the high school students and as we broaden it to other programs on campus. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Dalaiah, I have a question for you. Did you get an opportunity to shadow before you applied for podiatry school?
So not before I applied. I kind of was just like I said, it was everything I wanted, so I didn't have any hesitation. But when I did get accepted, there were a couple programs that required it. But I was like, let me just go and see what it's about. So I did shadow two different podiatrists in Houston, one who actually graduated from AZCPM. So that kind of just solidified that I had made the right choice at that point.
Oh, that's great. Over the last few years, we ask similar questions to all the APMSA students, and how you found out about podiatry and the shadowing experiences are some of them. So it's always fun to get that feedback. All right. So a couple questions here. What has surprised you the most about Podiatric Medical School and its curriculum? Why don't we start this time with Dalaiah?
I think that one thing maybe well, I knew that with Midwestern, the program was very much well-rounded, so we wouldn't just be focusing on podiatry. And that was kind of one of the drawing points for me, or the appeal factors. But I don't think I was prepared for the level of intensity. And it was definitely a learning curve, especially having been out of school for so long. But I think that I have appreciated it so much. And I think that sometimes it's difficult when it's I'm learning this and it's so much. But as the course of the program has gone on, seeing how everything ties into another, it's just it's incredible. I know a lot of programs do systems-based learning. And so it's that's great, but I also appreciate that we're learning everything all at the same time, and then it eventually comes back. So it's review. and we're like on our way to take the boards, and I feel like that's going to be very helpful in the long run with like being able to, well, already having like reviewed everything so many times is nice. So I hope
That's a
that
good
makes
point.
sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, especially if studying for boards. You're studying for boards, and here's a section, and it's 14% of the test, and you know what you need to study. So, good point. Megan, what surprised you about podiatric medical school?
One thing that I would say surprised me a little bit, but I got a little glimpse of it when I was in the master's program, was with it just being such a small, like tight-knit, like community and group and everything, was just how like approachable the faculty are and involved like in our learning, like in the classroom and outside, because at any time when we're not in the classroom, if there's a faculty member in their office, we're allowed to just like go stop by and ask questions. Even outside of class, I've emailed and talked to the phone with faculty when I've had questions, and they really want us to succeed and to do well, like on every single exam. So to have a great team behind you as we are doing our schooling, that's huge. So.
Well said.
Mm-hmm.
And Taylor, what has surprised you about podiatric medical school that you weren't anticipating?
I was not expecting it to be as hands-on that it is. Like we like right off the gate, I feel like we were just doing stuff like even our basic science classes, we had like workshops and labs, but even like within podiatry, we had our suture clinics, we had the injection lab, we just had a cadaver lab that I think we were doing, oh, I can't remember now, but it was something with the ankle, like stuff that we haven't really been covered yet, but we get to like jump in as like a second year. So it's so fun. So just jumping in hands on. So that's something I didn't expect at Midwestern.
Are you talking about the ACFAS club event?
Yes, that was
so they were doing a lateral ankle stabilization lab, Jeff. So the third years had the content, but having the second years have an opportunity to come and experience that was a great shout out to ACFAS and ABFAS for supporting our students.
That is a great shout out. Thank you, Taylor.
All right, so then if we got this far in your educational experiences, are there things that you wish you would have known prior to starting, or what would you tell your pre-program self now that you wish you would have known? Let's start with Megan this time.
Awesome. So one thing about this that's great that kind of makes me think about is when we start at Midwestern, we get connected with with somebody that is a year ahead of us. So maybe mistakes that they've made, or maybe if they found it easier, they kind of like help you along the way. And so with my little, who is now a second year, I try to give her any advice of things I wish I would have done better. And to start off with, I think a big aspect is just knowing that it's all going to work out. Like if you put in the time and everything else, the stress and everything is going to be worth it. And to not doubt yourself, because you will perform well. We get great help, and you learn how to like test well here at like Midwestern. We constantly have like tests constantly. And sometimes there might be an exam that isn't my most favorite grade, but I can't like stay there in that moment. You have to like keep moving on and think about, okay, I'm going to go back, review, how can I learn from my mistakes and do better next time? And that's one of the biggest things. Is I always told her, go back and see what you did wrong, because the next exam, you might make the same exact mistake and you have like the opportunity to fix it now. So.
Oh, I love that advice so much. I had a student in my office today, Jeff, and Megan, you're absolutely right. What's so hard sometimes as a student, especially our high achieving students, which you are a high achiever to have gotten to where you are, is the numbers get so deflating sometimes. And I know you guys have no time to read any books for pleasure, so don't even bother trying to read this right now. Maybe you can get a chat GPT summary of it, but there's a great book it's called The Gap and the Gain. And so I literally drew it on a little sticky note and I gave it to her to take with her. This idea of where our expectation is versus where we are. We look at this and we just feel so deflated. But if you think about how far you've come versus where you want to be, that's a very small gap. But we focus on the gap rather than the gain. So I love your advice to your younger self and your littles here at Midwestern of it is going to be okay. These are just the obstacles to get to the next step. And some obstacles are really big, some of them are little. That doesn't mean that they don't impact us and that we don't learn how to grow from them. So I think that was beautifully stated, Megan.
Thanks.
All right, Taylor, what about you? What would be some advice pieces or things you wish you would have known?
Ooh, one thing I would say is try not to lose perspective of where the end goal is. This happened to me this weekend when I was studying for a path exam, and I was like, I'm overwhelmed. I can't do this. Then I was like, no, it's okay, because in a year and a half, we're gonna be in rotations. We do what we have to do right now because there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So just keeping that long-term perspective, I feel like is the biggest key, at least in my opinion.
Yes. And second year can feel dark sometimes because you're so in it, right? Like you're in it long enough that like you're in it, but you're still in it enough that you got a long ways. It feels like a long ways to go. So you're absolutely right. Keep that end in mind. It does pay off. All right, Dalaiah, what are your pieces of advice you wish you would have known?
I really liked Megan's responses. I think that one thing I like to say is that nothing gets easier, but I just learned how to do hard better.
Yes.
And so I think that to my first year self, I would have said like it is okay, and you'll get better at doing this. I'd had like a lot of health issues and stuff last year, and so my grades reflected that. And so it was hard for me to kind of get to a point where I was like recognizing that it wasn't me, it was the circumstances that I was like doing this with. And I just constantly had to push through, and it was hard then, but now like I'm finally seeing the fruits of my labor, and I finally learned how to study. So I would even give myself like, hey, this is how you need to study, and just do this, and you'll be fine on every exam, because it was a lot of what do I do from exam to exam? It was like, well, okay, I did better this time, but maybe not in this subject. Like this process didn't work. So I would give myself like the encouragement, but also the keys to success that I had to learn along the way.
What are these? I want to hear your recommendations for success, knowing that everyone's recommendations are personalized and different.
Yeah.
But what have you found that has worked really well for you, if you don't mind sharing?
So it sounds ridiculous. And actually one of my classmates was asking me like when I finally started getting the grades I wanted, he was like, "So what are you doing?" And I was like, "Studying." That sounds so terrible. I think like because of my undergraduate career, like I was very much all over the place, and so I would study enough to do well. But it was also just a completely different space. So I never was just studying all the time. And now that that's like truly what I am doing and have to do, it took me a while to recognize like I just need to sit down, focus, like setting plans for myself. I have like a little study tracker sheet that I use, and so it keeps me aware of the things that I have done, because I think that was a big thing too. I would lose sight of the studying that I had done, and so I'd get to the day before the exam and I'd be like, I haven't done anything, but I would have already looked at everything, and then that would be like self-sabotage. So now I'm like making sure that I keep track of everything. I set goals for like how many passes of material I want to do, making sure that I'm doing practice questions and like applying the knowledge that I'm learning. And so when I go into exams, I go in with more of a piece of like, I've put in the effort, I know that I have studied, and so now I can just apply that instead of like freaking out before I go in.
Oh, I love that so much. That's beautifully stated.
It really is. I think it's so important for students to give themselves some grace when they first start. Uh, it's a challenge, right? And so it's counterintuitive, but you'll remember, I always recommend don't get too involved in clubs. Don't worry about research. Your number one goal is to understand how you study and how you assimilate information. And it sounds like all of you made that transition. And it's not easy. It's almost like you're a different person after you make that transition. So I commend all of you for all your hard work and learning about yourselves, because that's really what it is. All right, another topic, Joe. What are you most excited about in the podiatric profession going forward? Let's start with you, Taylor.
Oh, most excited going forward. Well, short term, I'm so excited to go to the APMSA conference.
Oh, let's
Like
tweak
long
this a
term?
little bit, Taylor. No, let's do short term, then long term. Maybe that's a
Yeah.
good idea. All right.
Okay. Short term, APMSA conference and the ACPAS conference. So excited. It's the first time going as the president-elect, so I actually get to be in the room and meet all the cool people. So I'm excited for that. And then the long term, I'm so excited to do a surgery. Because we're learning about all of them, and it's a little intimidating thinking about like, oh, I could be doing that in like a couple years from now. But it's at the same time, it's like, oh my goodness, like that is why I applied to school, and that's why I'm studying for. It's to do this. It's to read an X-ray for the first time in front of attending, and then being like, ooh, that's not how I would have done it. And you're like, okay, we learned from there. So, I know the whole process of that. I'm so excited to do that.
Oh, I love that. And how about a shameless plug for the ACFAS meeting coming up in February? And we're going to have a friends and alumni party get together for the Arizona College of Podiatric Medicine. So if you're listening to this podcast, plan for sure. We'll get out the information on where we're going to meet, and it's in Vegas, so it's a shorter drive, if you will, from Arizona. Well, that's great, Taylor. Thank you so much. Gosh, I can't remember who's next. Dalaiah, let's go with you. What are you most excited about in the podiatric profession, short term and long term?
Short term, I think I'm very much excited about being a TA for Pod Surge this year. Um, I definitely enjoyed that class. I love suturing. So I'm excited to share that passion with the first years. Long term, similar to Taylor, like I want to do surgery. I want to see surgery. I didn't get the chance to ever like go in and shadow a surgery. So I've only had experience with cadavers and stuff. So I'm really excited to finally just be existing in my passion and in my career. And I think also like networking with other podiatrists. Over the summer, we had like a lot of different doctors coming in during our cadaver lab, and it was just so incredible, like hearing their experiences, getting their perspectives on different things, and just like being fed from them. So I'm looking forward to receiving that even more in my career, but also like being that for somebody else and providing like additional inspiration and stuff to people.
That's fabulous. And Megan, what do you find most exciting about the podiatric profession going forward, short term and long term?
Short term, what I'm excited about is just with going on rotations, kind of the stress at times of rotations, like going from one patient's room and be dealing with nail care, and then jumping to another room and then dealing with a fracture, and then switching, and then you're having to think about something completely different. I just love that aspect that there is so much, even within a very specific field, like foot and ankle, that I just like can't wait to be like thinking on my feet, and just to be able to start applying everything that we've learned the past 2 years, because we finally get to like take a pause, from everything from the books, and to start growing our clinical knowledge, like just in a huge way in person. So, because all of our faculty tell us, you're going to learn so much more like in person. So I can't wait for that aspect. Long term for podiatry, what I'm excited about is that it just I think ultimately it includes, I mentioned earlier, a little bit of like all my different passions, that you don't have to like specifically specialize just like in pediatrics or just in sports medicine or so forth, that you get trained in all these different areas, and have just this like huge like skill set. So I'm very excited about that.
That's fabulous, Megan. Megan, just a little sidebar. What advice would you give to Dalaiah and Taylor about studying for boards next year?
For studying for boards, I would say a couple of things is make sure that you just have like a schedule that you set out with, and then also don't just study alone 24/7. Make sure that you're just like in community with people. I've just learned throughout podiatry school that going through it is hard, but it's better like together, and what somebody else, a strength of someone else might be like a weakness for mine, and vice versa, and we can help each other out, even if we're doing like the majority of studying on our own. So yeah, I would just say those two main things.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Jeff, I have to say too, I absolutely love that, Megan, because I think it's also a reflection of something that's really unique in the podiatric medical space. And that's that they're not really competing with each other. What I just heard from Megan is we are better together. So this idea of coming to, and I will also mirror that from being a student, I would have I would burned out completely without having my team there to help keep me excited and engaged and make it fun, right? So I love that it's a support culture. It's not a cutthroat competitive culture.
Absolutely. Joe, do you want to do the next question, or would you like me?
Well, let me have a quick word from our sponsor, and then we'll keep going with some more questions.
Oh, well, that's a great idea. So our sponsor is Bako Diagnostics, and we always like to give a big shout out to Bako. We all know that early detection is the most important determination in improving patient outcomes. Bako Diagnostics remains committed to supporting you in your role as the first line of defense in diagnosing lower extremity pathologies. Bako Diagnostics, helping podiatric physicians keep America on its feet. And you all know firsthand how incredible Bako is with the labs, and they support our students, they support our residents, they support practitioners. So every August in dermatology, we have Dr. Shearer fly into Phoenix and gets the pig's feed, and it's like 120 degrees outside, and he puts on an incredible lab. So kudos to Bako.
Absolutely. And going back to Taylor's favorite part, the hands-on part, getting to actually apply these things. So again, we can't do this without the support from companies like Bako. So thank you so much. All right. So give us something that's happened over the last year or two that has kind of inspired you about the profession. I'm gonna give you each a second to think about it. It could be something really small, and it doesn't have to be podiatry specific necessarily. It could be biochemistry or pharmacology or whatever, but something that really kind of inspired something in you. And let's see, we'll start back with Taylor.
Ooh, this is a good one. I would say it was one of my first, I just got my acceptance into Midwestern, and I was shadowing for the last time at the clinic in Utah. And I went in and just kind of doing the usual thing, just shadowing what the doctor's doing his thing. And the last patient, she was having like a lot of pain in her foot, and she was kind of frustrated because it's been going on for a while. And I just watched him take out a piece of paper. He drew out a foot, and then he drew out the exact surgery, like what he was going to do. And you could just see the relief on her face, being like, okay, like he gets it. He's been listening to me. Like, we know what we're going to do now. And that interaction, I was like, oh my goodness, like that could be me one day. Like I could really help somebody and like see that change and like see it through. So that kind of really inspired me to be like, oh, I'm so excited for podiatric medicine. Yeah, just that.
Oh, I love that. That's really beautiful. Dalaiah. give us an example of something that's inspired you.
Yeah, so mine is actually more recently. Over the summer, we started doing some basic skills rotations. And for my last rotation, it was actually across the street at the Midwestern Clinic with Dr. Curtis. And I was extremely nervous. I didn't know what to do. I mean, I knew what to do because I've been preparing, but I was getting in my head about it. And I was actually only supposed to see one patient, but I ended up seeing a second one because there was a lot going on. So Dr. Curtis kind of just passed on the torch and he was like, go ahead and go see this patient. And I'm like, okay. So I went in and the gentleman that was in there was just extremely kind and he really like helped get rid of the nerves. But we had such a wonderful interaction. We had so many things in common and he was like much older than I was, but it was like just beautiful to see that, you know, people coming from two different places and with different experiences like still have commonalities. Um, and when I finished seeing him, I had clipped his toenails, filed them, and you know had presented to Dr. Curtis and everything. And when I was leaving, Dr. Curtis was there with me, and we were talking to the gentleman, and he was just like really encouraging and raved about his experience, and it was very heartwarming, and it was like, wow, like I'm not even too far into this, and to see that I like really made an impact in someone else's life and with the little experience and knowledge that I do have. Um, and you know, I helped to make him comfortable and it was just like it was reassuring that I'm in the right place and that, you know, I'm on the right track and that I'm absorbing all of the knowledge that I've been given, and that I am capable and, you know, meant to do what I'm doing. So that was a great experience, especially since we're doing so many, like we're in our didactics right now. And it's a lot. So to step out and kind of see like this is what I'm here for was a great experience.
That's really beautiful. And you're absolutely right. You had touched on earlier that hard things become easy, but then there's new hard things. And that will continue throughout your life. I would love to say residency, but it will continue through life. But those moments where you get to connect with someone, you've been preparing your whole life. You have a whole life of experience that you can tap into for that. So thank you for sharing that with us. Megan, what would be something that has inspired you recently?
One specific event that I was thinking about was it was about a year ago. We had our like first podiatry gala, and this is where we celebrated the students making it through a like successful year, and like thanking like our faculty and even like family members or significant others for being there. And with that event, it just reminded me like this is something that I want to do, not just like in podiatry school, but later on, whether it's like when I have my own practice or like my own team and stuff, it's really taking care of your team and that you have those like bonding moments and like recognizing the work that everybody puts in and not just celebrating at the very end because there's always another goal in mind, you know? So it just makes it so much more fun and enjoyable, like having those different aspects. So I just know like how key that is to like incorporate like one day.
Absolutely. And you were a big part of that gala, and it was such a beautiful experience of just gratitude. And I loved that you brought that little spark to the first year experience in that way. So
I had that same vibe last week at the third year send off with all the families, and there were little ones that had been born the last couple of years, and it was just a wonderful gathering before you all go off on rotations.
and even the white coat ceremony we just had this past weekend, I was feeling the exact same, just that celebratory, indulge in these moments of accomplishment because it's so important for us to celebrate our wins. So,
Joe, I thought maybe we'd do a couple rapid fires just for fun.
oh, fun. Yes.
Okay, I'll kick it off. Dalaiah, if you go first, what is something you do when you've been studying like crazy and you're stressed out to recharge your battery and enable you to relax?
Um, nap.
Oh, there you go.
That's a good one. Investing in your sleep is important.
Yes.
And anything else, or is that good?
Um, I like to watch YouTube videos. I've realized that like I can't commit to like watching a TV show or movies anymore. So I like things that kind of keep my attention for a little bit and then yeah.
There you go. Megan, what do you do to recharge the battery and relax in between studying and taking exams?
A couple of different things. If for one, if my fiance comes and visits, we'll plan like a little like date night or something. So it gives me something to look forward to, even if it's just something simple for us to go do, to go to a restaurant nearby, or he'll plan like maybe like a little picnic or something. And then the second thing is kind of just doing like spontaneous things with students in our class. Sometimes it is just those like food runs and taking a break and stop thinking about school and just like laugh and go to In-N-Out or anything else, and then get recharged back up all together and go study again. So I think just simple things like that where you leave and you can like go laugh with somebody is a great break.
That's wonderful. And Taylor, what do you do to recharge the battery between exams and relax?
Kind of like what Megan said, Chili's has been our spot. We hit that place up a lot. And then also I love reading. Whether like I'll pick up like a book I've read 1,000 times, or I'll try to start a new one. But I light a candle and I just read, and it's fun.
Well, there you go. Grab The Gap and the Gain. It's a short read. It's like a fun read. I highly recommend it.
Perfect.
Joe, you have a topic for
Okay.
rapid fire.
Yeah. All right. So one of my favorite questions to ask some of our faculty that'll come on is about music, because I am also a music person. So Taylor, we're going to start back with you. We're going to go back the opposite direction. When you study or when you're doing a task, I don't know, something, cleaning the apartment or whatever, what kind of music do you listen to?
Okay. I have recently discovered jazz music. When I'm studying, it's 100% it's jazz music. I don't know why. I just feel like I can do so much from listening to that. But if I'm like cleaning, it would probably be Hamilton. Honestly, I'll just play it at the beginning, we can
Nice.
sing along. We lose track of time. It's fun.
Love it. I just love that.
Yeah. Dalaiah, how about you? What kind of music?
That's so tough because I'm a musician, so I love all music. For studying, there are two artists in particular, and there's like a playlist on YouTube of just them. It's Mac Ayres and Christian Courier, and it's kind of like I would say like chill music. I don't really know what genre it is. And then for just fun, so many things. I really love a band called Glass Animals.
Oh yeah, I know Glass Animals.
Yeah, they're in my heavy rotation. Um, I love Bad Bunny. I speak Spanish, so I try to listen to Spanish music to kind of keep me brushed up. But yeah, my playlist is full of so many different things. That's such a hard question.
I love that. All right, Megan, music.
Okay. Well, when I study, I normally don't have too much music because I'll start singing and not focusing on dance, or like not focusing on studying. But when I'm taking a little break and cleaning or anything, I love all genre, but I love country music, specifically because I'm from a smaller town. So like John Party, there's like a song like Night Shift, like I'm working on the night shift. So that's a fun song. And basically any song that I can just have fun dancing around and singing the lyrics is my favorite.
I love that. Jeff, I haven't asked you, what kind of music would you be listening to? We'll say if you're doing a task.
So I like classic rock and soft rock, of course. But it's interesting that you mentioned that Megan, because I'm the same way. I start like singing along and I lose track of what I'm doing. So when I was in school, I used to listen to like David Sanborn, Kenny G, Kitaros, just pure musical stuff just to wash out the background. That was just what I did. And then in the OR, I did like Steve Miller Band, Simon Garfunkel, all kinds of older stuff. That's just a reflection of me. I mean, Bad Bunny, I mean, they announced yesterday Bad Bunny's playing at the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, I
So
saw that today.
I'm going to check out Bad Bunny because I have not heard that yet. How about you, Joe?
Yeah, so when I would study, it was classical. I loved classical music. It didn't have to just be classical in the classical sense. At this again, I'm going to date myself, but there was so I was you knew I was very much into the arts, and there was a beautiful movie called Pan's Labyrinth that had been released while I was in school. It's beautiful on so many levels. It's also a little weird and twisted if you're into that. But anyway, they had a great soundtrack, and it's all classical music. So I would play that a lot because it was just another different thing. But I listened to a lot of classical music studying because I couldn't have it just quiet. But like Megan, I could not have music on that I wanted to like, I can't not get into it, right? So I had to find stuff that didn't have words. So, but jazz, Taylor, I could totally see getting into jazz because it hits all the same purpose points of, and they've shown, Jeff, actually, there's been some studies looking at listening to music and activating parts of your brain to help with retention and studying. There's so much mathematics that we don't even realize are triggering parts of our brain. So it does help you when you study with music on, as long as it's not distracting you. So fun thing. Music gets me so fired up.
It's great. I have one more question. Dalaiah, I've got a question for you. I'm always fascinated when students major in the arts or a language and then they get into sciences. The challenges and the difference, because it seems like you're using two different sides of your brain. And what was your experience with that?
You know, I get this question a lot actually. I think people are always like shocked to know that I am a musician. But I think that because I was like so well-rounded in my undergrad and I had that good balance of music and science, that moving into medical school, it honestly helped because like I said, you know, it took me a while to kind of figure out how to study. And I think that creative part of my brain kind of helps me to understand certain concepts in a different way where I am able to retain it, but also like explain it to more left brain people that, you know, can't look at it for more than like what the words are saying. Um, so I definitely think that it it has been helpful with my transition for sure.
That's great. Joe, any last comments or questions?
Yeah, that totally just sparked one more question.
Okay.
So what I would love to hear from each of you is the advice that you would give a student that is maybe considering this world of medicine. What advice would you give them about podiatry specifically? And so, Dalaiah, since we just finished that beautiful statement about coming from a world that wasn't primarily focused in medicine, but still had a lot of background, what advice would you give someone maybe that is in an arts degree that's like, hey, I kind of think I want to do something in healthcare? What advice would you give them?
I would say if you want to do it, go for it. Um, this has been something that I have wanted to do, and like I said, music was just kind of a stepping stone for me. Wouldn't have changed it for the world. And actually, one of my advisors had told me that like I needed to stop doing music and just like restart over. And I was like almost a junior. And it was like, you just need to major in biology. And that's not true because I'm here today. So yeah, I think that if it's something that you really want, you should go for it, no hesitation. Um, and yeah, if it's meant to be, then why let your background stop you, you know?
Absolutely. Taylor, how about you?
I would kind of say really think about what you want and what you want your life to look like. Because if you really think about it and you like research podiatry, I feel like you will find out that podiatry will check a lot of your boxes. And I mean, I just found it to be like the perfect niche of medicine, and I'm only a second year. So honestly, like to anybody who's thinking about going medical, like in medical field, I would strongly consider podiatry. Do some research into it. There's so many resources out there. I even told my nephew who's considering med school. I'm like, honestly, like give pod a shot. It's kind of cool. So yeah, do the research. It could work out.
Beautiful. And how about you, Megan?
I would say for looking into podiatry, you have to do it if you're interested in healthcare, just like investigating it a little bit more, and even more so if you're interested in surgery, because it is the route to get there, having like a 3-year surgery route. If I were to go other routes, like potentially the DO or so forth, when it comes to matching and everything else, you like hope to match into surgery, but then maybe you get the polar opposite field that you wanted to go towards and you were working your whole entire life. I was just at the point where going into podiatry, I know I'm going to become a podiatrist, like a foot and ankle surgeon. So if you don't want any more like question marks or anything else, and you can still pick so many pathways into podiatry, you have to learn more about the field. So
Beautifully said.
Yeah, that is so well said. And just another piece of advice, if you're interested and you do all your research and you think you like podiatry, by all means, find a doc to shadow or 2 or 3 and really get into what it's all about. Because when we interview students, students always say, you know, the reason I decided to go into podiatry is because the docs that I shadowed loved their job. And that you can't say that for everybody. And not that every day is perfect, right? It isn't. But by and large, they're very pleased with their career choice. Well, gosh, thank you so much for joining us and talking about your career to date and the Arizona College. Joe, any last words?
No, thank you all so much. It's really an honor and a privilege to get to hang out with you guys on a fairly consistent basis. And we appreciate you taking the time today, and we know how busy you are to come and share with our audience your experiences. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
thank you so much.
You are you are so welcome, and I agree. Thank you so much for carving the time out. So if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please give us a 5-star rating, or even better yet, leave a couple of comments. And if you are on YouTube, Dalaiah, I mean, you can watch shorts of Dean's Chat on your YouTube videos, but by all means, become a subscriber. And Joe and I will continue to bring future leaders in podiatric medicine to the Dean's Chat podcast. So we're going to get each of you a Dean's Chat mug. They're in my office, so stop by and we'll give you each a Dean's Chat mug. We start the day the Dean's Chat way, right?
Right.
Sure. So thank you again for making the time to be on Dean's Chat, and cheers, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye now.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.